Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my Road to GM series. This is episode number 3, and in this series, I am taking you through the trials and tribulations of somebody coming back to competitive over the board play. The first 2 episodes of the series, I did some game recaps. This episode is very special because in this episode, I actually filmed a live chess lesson with a grandmaster. So first of all, let me know your thoughts in the comments about how you like it. Obviously, if this one doesn't get that many views because people just don't enjoy the content, I won't upload stuff like this. But this lesson is split into 3 parts. In the first part, I spoke to Grandmaster Arturs Niksans, Latvian Grandmaster. He has a channel as well and some courses out there. I'll put them in the description. And first, we talked about my struggles and what he thinks I need to do better. In the second part of the lesson, we analyzed games that I played. So he gave me his hypothesis of why I suck as a chess player, not exactly in those words, and he showed me examples from my own games. We will analyze those. And in the end, he gave me homework. So I'm going to take you through solving chess positions and analyzing them, and that's Road to GM, episode number 3. Enjoy.
The openings, they're not a problem to you because you are getting really good positions with white and black against even very high-rated opponents, but it's what happens after that. And I pinpointed the 2 big topics, which maybe which of them can be dissected smaller. The first one, and probably this is the big one, is I don't think you pay enough attention on your opponent, what he is going to do. When we go through, I can show you these examples, is that I think that there's somewhere a problem right there, right? That at some point, you are like very focused on what you want to do. You have great ideas. And then there's like some big moment, you miss completely your opponent's response and everything goes downhill very quickly right after that. Yeah. So there's been many games like this. The second problem, which is also a pretty big one, but not as big as the first one, is that very often you go for unnecessary complications. Yeah. So let's say you get a great position, and again, I compiled a list of the games. You have a great position, but I think you're a great artist, Levi. Yeah. So you like playing really creative chess. And sometimes at some moment it comes out at the wrong moment. So these unnecessary complications, I think it's also holding you back. I'm not sure you're aware of that or not. And sometimes I also felt that when you're playing, which, again, Levi, maybe we can divide this in smaller topics. I felt that there's a lack of patience. Yeah. So you're starting, and instead of maybe immediately instead of preparing things, you're like immediately going at an opponent, suddenly start some crazy complications, and I again accumulate a lot of games when you go down. Yeah, very, very quickly against GMs. So this is something I think you can absolutely fix.
I don't remember the last couple of years of games exactly right now because that's not what my brain has been focused on, but I'm sure in analyzing those games and probably rewatching some of the recap videos that I myself recorded, I definitely say and will remember things like, I completely missed this move. Not even that I miscalculated, but just completely missed ideas. The problem for me is that I know some of this stuff and then I don't know what to do about it. Yeah.
But listen, Levi, I have to ask you, you are about the GM title, you are very serious about this, right? So this is not just content. You mean
it. The name of the series, let's put it this way, is content. Yeah. For now, it's, get back to 2350 and 2400 and then 2431, which is my peak, and get a bit of confidence back, because I've never in my life showed up to a tournament and thought I was going to lose every game. And then that happened to me in New York when I scored like one of my worst results ever. I remember preparing for the games and just thinking, whatever I prepare, I'm going to lose this game somehow. And that's a very weird feeling. Like, I never felt it in my life. Yeah, I would like a little bit of confidence back and just to play and be focused and understand my opponents are also human and they suck just like me. So
the only one who is stopping you, it's you. Yeah, so I respectfully disagree. To anybody who said it's impossible, I mean, it's totally doable. The question is, do you believe it yourself? If you believe it, then you're going to do it. And I think what you need, Levi, desperately, is the first GM norm. That's what you need. Because Everything else doesn't matter. You need the first GM norm. I can relate to this because when I was EM, but I wasn't playing chess for like 7-9 years. At some point, I decided to go back to chess, and I didn't know if I can do it. And I think also you don't know for sure. I mean, it's like you want to do it, but you don't know for sure. Can you do it? I mean, nobody really knows for sure. Can you do it? And I was pushing very hard to go back at the competitive chess. And when I got the first GM norm, I knew it. I'm going to do it. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I didn't need nothing else. I didn't need the ratings, the norms. I knew it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because I am capable to play at this level. And you already told me you were close. Before the first GM norm, it's going to be really, really hard. Once you get it, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
I imagine that this is going to require some sacrifices. How much are you willing to sacrifice? Maybe you're going to somehow make it without a sacrifice. Yeah, I mean sacrificing this is the free time. Yeah, this is the time that you are doing something else. Yeah, I guess it's impossible to persuade you to do less content and focus more on competitive chess. But I think you're going to get there at some point, that maybe there are going to be moments when you want to focus more on your personal growth. Yeah, and speaking about ways you can grow, which is immediately where we go to the next topic, I think you need practice. It's not only these training sessions, is it with me or anybody else, with Wojciech or somebody else. I think you need to practice all of this. And I made a comparison. How many games you have played in the past years? How many games I have played? Let me just share it. I think that you should be playing more games when you are really seriously thinking about the GM title. I don't think that you immediately have to jump to 110. And I'm not sure that you can do this with all of your commitments to play 100 games a year. But I think that finding the time to play, to practice is very important. And I think that it's a good idea that you are planning to play tournaments in a row. So it's not like you play one tournament a month, because very often it's a good idea to play a streaks of tournaments, let's say 3-4 tournaments in a row, a couple of days in between. This is what I talk about sacrifice.
So that's a little bit about what he noticed in my games themselves, and naturally, we jumped into analyzing some of the games. Do I still have your attention, by the way? You still interested? Is this exciting for you? This was like a 2-hour lesson, and this is kind of broken down into a 25-30 minute video. So you understand I had to cut out a few things, but this is basically what we trained. I mean, this game, yeah, this game I definitely remember.
I'm so sorry. I'm showing you really tearing apart.
No, it's good because like I don't think I'm good enough myself to go through these games and kind of like stick my own face into the that I did and then actually actively learn from it. This entire game, there was a sequence of moves that, yeah, I was just missing his concepts, and I missed one chance, and then I was regretting it. But I remember, yeah, this game I very vaguely remember. I mean, obviously he just played G5. I can't remember what I did though.
Yeah, so here I'm not sure what happened. I tried to understand where was the mistake. I think this was some hallucination, because knight h7, again, it's based on miscalculation. There was nothing wrong with h takes on g5, and it's pretty obvious he's going to take with the knight takes on g5.
Yeah, and then, I mean, is rook d4 just a free pawn?
Exactly. Yeah, just rook d4, because in terms of the theory of calculation, we start with the forcing moves first, always. Yeah, we're starting with the forcing moves. Capture, stretch, checks. I mean, this is what I'm usually chanting to my students. Capture, stretch, checks. Capture, stretch, checks. Every single move. So rook takes on d4 is capture. There's no e5. I just don't see how white continues. He plays probably something like rook e3, which I imagine is what you didn't really like from here, because rook h3 is a problem, even though white's attack looks scary. And maybe you could argue, I mean, yeah, is this still obvious? By the way, now that I'm looking at this, is there still knight e5?
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that you still have a lot of good moves to consider. And on the top of the choices, at least I have rook d5. If I see nothing else, I play rook d5 and something like Bishop f5, I'm very secure.
And
Or
queen
maybe
d6.
exactly. Yeah, queen d6. So what about it? Yeah, so knight f6, queen f6, and there's nothing. Exactly one check, you go to e7. But it's very easy to fall for ghosts. And you're not the first one, not the last one. Yeah, so we are always very much concerned about the opponent's attack. That's why it's so much easier to attack than to defend, because we tend to defend from every single threat the same. Is it a real threat? Is it illusory threat? Somebody said this, never underestimate the resources of the defense. And we tend to give too much credit for the attacking chances. And let's say there's this position in general. I mean, I could pull up some similar examples from Euro games as well. And you don't see any real threats. It doesn't mean that your position is bad. So if your opponent is unable to make something immediately, like in 1 or 2 moves, by definition, your defensive resources increase. That's how it works. And even if you don't see it, very often you can just base it on your logic, how you treat chess. I mean, I don't see anything immediately here. Okay, I'm of course, I'm afraid of this knight on g5, but knight e5, I have queen d6, there's no rook h3, there's no nothing. Okay, maybe he can play bishop h3, bishop c8, and rook h3 later, but it costs time. And my understanding of chess is that if he is going to spend so much time on playing, for example, this bishop h3, bishop c8, and rook h3, by definition, I'm going to find something.
g6, so, knight h5.
This is something that you could not see from afar.
Yeah.
But your logic says that if he is so slow with his ideas, I'm going to find something.
Also, okay. Knight f4. Knight f4 stuff.
There was this. Yeah, there was also this one moment. Wait. Yeah. So you played knight h7, g takes g, queen g3. I think you missed this check. I was not really sure. So there you go. We already missed.
Yes. I definitely missed it, and I hung c7.
Yeah, but it's still okay for you.
You know, I know, but I didn't think so. I remember, yeah, like I was already spiraling completely. Queen c7, bishop d7, I think was the game.
Yeah, queen c7, bishop d7, rook e3, and with today's mindset, I guess what you would want to do after you commit the first mistake, this is where you take your 5-minute break. And this is where I would step in and say, Levy, take a 5-minute break and basically start the game from scratch. Again, it's so incredibly easy to say. There's nothing more I can really say, and I think you got to find this. You got to find this strength after you feel that you have committed to this first mistake, that you are not spiraling out of control. By the way, Livy, also notice one thing about your games. So only the first 50 games. There was one thing which I started to feel. You have very few similar games. Okay, maybe there's more.
Yeah.
I don't see repetition of your plans. It's like you're playing every single game. It's like the one, the only. And I often can't compare it, meaning I have played myself in certain systems hundreds of games. Yeah, and for example, in the anti-Sicilians, oh my goodness, you wouldn't believe how many games I have played. In certain Leningrad Dutch games, I have played, oh my goodness, gazillion games. And somehow when I was going through your games, I had trouble to get this feeling that you are repeating your played system. So it felt like you're again like an artist. Yeah. So every game you're like, okay, let's just do this. Yeah, this looks fun. This looks interesting. I mean, let's see how it works. But when we're talking about the result, it's not a bad idea just to repeat what you already have practiced. Maybe I have a wrong impression.
No, I think it's correct. I think I put like somehow too much emphasis on playing something that I haven't played before. I mean, except in the Caro-Kann, let's say. I mean, Caro-Kann, I'm or French, but yeah, it's definitely an issue. I think I get a bit worried about people having some opening surprise for me, so I just make it a mindset like I need to play something to surprise them first, and then then we'll figure it out. But that again is probably the incorrect approach, and I tend to not play the same opening or system repeatedly. Also because I don't play a lot. So it's kind of what you said earlier. I don't. Yeah,
maybe. because I think this is what you might want to consider to change, especially when going for the result. And I do stand to what I said. I think your openings are completely fine. And one of the biggest fears that in general players are afraid of, we are afraid of what we don't know. And for some reason, we believe very often that our opponent might know more than we do, which is rarely, I mean, not rarely, but not very often the case. Yeah. So I think it's fair to assume that you are the expert in the lines that you play. You know it. Again, we go back to the psychology.
What is this from?
You played it 2 years ago. You should remember. Oh my god.
Maybe I've like blocked these games out of my. I'm trying to. I was white.
Yep.
It's a pretty nice looking position.
Yep. Justin Lee is your opponent. New York Spring.
Yeah, that was round 2 or 3.
Round 3. That's correct.
I won this game, but it was a very stupid game.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very entertaining game. I recall something here. Did I play Rook D2 in the game?
No, you played Rook F1. And here, I think...
I miscalculated Bishop E2, probably something like this.
Yeah. I'm curious what it is that you missed here, because the pawn is under attack. And I assume that you felt that this is simply impossible, because, I mean, it's a pin. Again, the assumption is the mother of all screw-ups, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't do this. So we should be calculating everything very carefully here. So after bishop e2, again, I see very quickly that knight e2 is nothing. Queen e2, the bishop on g2 is dropping. Rook f6, queen takes on g2. There's no threats. Your king, by the way, is a bit weakened. I assume you thought that there's going to be some sort of a pin. But yeah, I don't know what happened here, because after rook d2 e1,
bishop f1,
yeah, simply bishop f1. So I'm not even sure how to explain this, because when you're playing rook f1, you are assuming that your opponent will want to obviously check, can I take on e2? So if you're dropping the pawn on e2, you are like completely sure that this is not possible. So this was some weird miscalculation, even though you won the game. Yeah. So here.
I guess. I mean, I have no idea. Maybe I thought rook f e1, but then queen c4 is possible, whereas rook d e1, queen c4 is not possible because of rook f6. And then somehow I was like, oh, he blundered. So I quickly play rook e1, and then he takes on f1, and I go, oh shit. Like, that's the difference, is that I think that's probably what I missed, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. That if I move my f rook, it no longer attacks the knight on f6. So I was like, okay, rook d1. And then I forgot that he can take on f1.
Maybe, one more thing I can advise to you. Whenever, let's say, you're planning something and your opponent does play it anyway. Let's say you think this is a mistake, your opponent does it anyway. You always assume maybe I'm wrong. And I have done this mistake sometimes myself as well. It's like, oh, yeah, but you're blundering, right? Rook e1, that's it. Your queen is pinned and you're losing something. But it's a good idea to slow down at this moment, especially when your opponent has played something that you didn't expect, because maybe this is the classical 2 mistakes in a row. You have just committed the first mistake, and maybe you can still fix this. Maybe this position is not so bad, because after rook e1, you are entering this position, which is probably pretty bad. Yeah, and there's no way going away from this. And if you realize, oh my goodness, I actually missed this bishop f1, maybe you can limit the damage here still.
Can I?
I don't know. I didn't check this. I mean, I think that you simply had an extra pawn. Now you gave it up. I see some moves like bishop h3. I see moves like simple knight e2 and let's say a bishop move somewhere. For example, takes, and some bishop move. I mean, is bishop c6 a move? Yeah. Can I do this? I would want to stop here for a moment, but probably I would first breathe for 5 minutes. I would try to understand why my opponent is so stupid that he's blundering right now. what I'm missing? Yeah, what I'm missing? Why is he doing this? Yeah. So
I definitely. I mean, I completely didn't see bishop f1. I even now I'm trying to calculate like rook d e1, queen g4. So
Oh,
maybe I convinced myself he blundered, and then, you know, like, I mean, there's even rook e2, bishop f3.
uh, very complex lines you're showing me there. Maybe. Oh my
Like,
goodness.
I don't know. I probably just convinced myself, but this is winning, I think. I don't see anything. But
If that's forced, then it's winning. Yeah.
no, it's not. Rook e1 check.
Okay, this will be a nice example of the calculation. All the forcing moves, capture, stretch, checks, capture, stretch.
Yes.
So yeah, this is something we could talk about separately.
No, but I remember, yeah, now that you pointed it, which is funny because I guess rook d2 is the best move. In the beginning, I asked, did I play rook d2? Like, I
Yeah,
don't know if it's the best move, but it
I mean,
is?
you're up a pawn.
Yeah.
And
No, rook d2, e4, win.
But I think this is also one of those moments when you're lacking this patience.
Yeah.
It's like, let me finish off the opponent right now, and it's somehow it combines together with miscalculation. Yeah, that you miscalculate, that you miss something from your opponent. This impatience. Yeah, so this is something that you can point out, that you tend to make these mistakes. Maybe you are losing the so-called concentration. By the way, I can tell you this, Levy, because this is happening to me all the time, especially in online blitz. I'm playing online blitz, I get winning positions, and I start not to care. I literally don't care because I'm bored with those positions, and I lose so many rating points because I'm bored, and I cannot force myself to play this piece, this position with an extra exchange, extra piece. For me, the game is done. That's it. Yeah. So this is, again, is some sort of a psychological thing deep inside. So I think that for you, it could be something similar. You feel, okay, the game is already over, although this is happening over the board. Let's just finish the guy immediately. Boom, there's a blunder.
Yeah. No, I will say for me, maybe it's that but yeah, specifically in these Title Tuesday games, it's not. I don't think it's that emotion. It's the emotion of like, oh, here we go. Don't screw another one up, you know. And I freeze a little bit when I should just play. I mean, I watch Hikaru have 2 minutes up against people in a +5 position and win when he's losing. So
he's unfortunately a pretty bad example, because what we don't see is his amazing work he has input before, and he's playing bullet. Everybody's looking at him. The guy plays bullet. I can play bullet as well. Yeah. It's something. By the way, I think that you can also improve. One of your drawbacks, one of the things that you can improve is the defense, how you are holding on, because for you, as I already said at the very beginning, you're when you get in trouble, that's it. Yeah, very quickly, we're out of here. Let's get out of here. But you can hold on to those games, and after committing this very first mistake, that you find the strength, willpower, and not to give up. Yeah, and keep fighting, because very often after this first mistake, the game is not lost. By the way, the typical excuse for many players is, after they commit the first mistake, oh, I very quickly make the second mistake, they lose. They say, I was losing anyway. Yeah, I was losing anyway. What do you want? What do you want from me? No, you're not losing. But it's the mind which says that you are losing. And the mind does a lot of terrible things.
Those were 2 out of a few examples that we did, and then we were out of time. We discussed a little bit about openings. I can't really show that in these videos, because if my future opponents were privy to the discussions of what openings I'm going to play, that would be a major advantage, right? That would be like filming teams' practices or things like that sometimes happen in sports, allegedly. So instead of giving you that footage, I'm going to give you footage of me solving positions that he gave me. Training positions from some of my own games, and he prompted me with certain decisions to make. What's up, nerds? Welcome to chess homework number 1 in the road to GM. I will likely be uploading this portion alongside my very first chess lesson video with Artur Niksans, Latvian Grandmaster. It's currently 11 o'clock at night. I actually just finished a very long day, but I'm feeling fresh because I took a nap, and I also just ran a mile with my wife, so feeling pretty good. The way this is going to work is I'm going to read the prompts of every single position. Grandmaster Niksans, Sensei Niksans, if you will, has chosen examples from my own games, I believe. Just like the first chess lesson, we went through a lot of my old games, and he gave me prompts, and I'm going to spend about 5 minutes analyzing each position. I will fast forward so you don't have to sit there and suffer. And then I will explain my thought process, and we will see if I was correct. All right, this one sucks. Like, this is not a particularly pleasant position. So the things I considered here, the very first thing I considered was the move h6. And the point is that, of course, if white takes, I just go here. If white goes back, then I'm very happy, because then I can just play knight b6. And if white goes here, I thought about g5 to push the bishop out, trade it, and then play knight here. And then I thought I'd just develop, you know, my bishop, and I'm fine. I rejected this because of the move rook to e7, and I couldn't find a good solution for this, where now it's very difficult to move. Like, if rook to e8, there's bishop f7 or rook f7. Knight d5, I mean, you know, even something like this looks very bad, because I don't know how I'm going to defend this pawn, and white's second rook is going to come in. And I'm happy to note that it's +1 here. So I thought about h6. And I rejected it because of that. So I'm not going h6. Then I thought just to play knight b6, you know, and basically say, look, guy, if you want to take here, great. And I rejected this, first of all, because this kind of looks really bad, and knight takes f6 looks like a problem. Bishop b7, knight c5. I didn't like that very much. And I also just didn't really like knight e5 as well, so I decided not to play knight b6. Then I was really confused because I just thought the position was bad. So I started calculating the move rook to e8. Rook e8 looks promising, actually. I calculated here various things like rook takes e8, knight takes e8, you know, rook e1, and then playing something like king to f8 to try to protect. But I think I ultimately settled on this move, and the simple idea here is that everything is defended, and if white plays knight e5, I'll play bishop to e6. And in my mind, I calculated takes, knight c4 is a discovered attack, and I can even play king f7. And I thought, I'm not worse. So probably I would play rook to e8. But now that I'm here, maybe, you know, d5 is a little bit scary. Maybe knight b6 is the way to go, because rook e8 does feel a bit slow. But I thought anytime white plays d5, I can maybe trade and you know, play knight to c5 or something. Like, for example, maybe even now. And if bishop takes f6, rook e1, gf. I mean, now that I'm looking at this, this does not look particularly thrilling to defend, now that I'm here. Although I still don't really see a way that white is going to punish me. But yes, this does look a bit unpleasant. This move d5 is something that I have to... But I can probably trade even something kind of like king f8. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not pretty, but maybe it does the trick. So I would play rook e8 after 5 minutes of thought. And let's see what the way to go is. It seems like instead of rook e8 straight away, the computer wants h6 first and then rook e8, which is very interesting. I guess so that the move g5 is always possible. Is it because rook e8 d5? No. It's takes. Oh, knight g5. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's real bad. But it's not even that. It's actually, if knight g5, I have rook f8. It's actually trade. I just stopped the thought here, and I completely missed knight g5. Oh, bad. That is bad. I looked at rook e8. I calculated all those lines, and it's h6 with rook e8. That is the key idea. h6 followed by rook to e8. And knight b6 is bad because of what? Because of takes, knight e4, bishop e7. I thought knight c5. Yeah, okay. I mean, at least one thing I calculated correctly. But h6 rook e8 is the key. Is the key. That one I got wrong for sure because I calculated rook e8, and that is just a bad move after takes, and now knight g5, which somehow, yeah, somehow this move completely escaped, and I'm just a pawn down. Okay, that one I got wrong. This is a game in Spice Cup against Jonathan Chen, young player. Also, small edit. The coordinates were wrong the first time. I think white was on 7-8. Small ding, but then the pieces moved the other way. So, this was a game that I played over the board in St. Louis in 2021, and in that game, I actually repeated the position once. I went back and thought my opponent was going to go here, but then the game took a different turn. So, the first thought I had was bishop to b4, which I quickly rejected, as you can see, because of the move, knight to e4. And the point is that if we trade bishops, you know, my opponent's going to get the knight to d6, and I'm going to be in some trouble here. So I didn't play, and let's just remove this. So I didn't play that because I understood that, you know, the move knight to e4 is a problem, which led me then to consider taking the knight, which seemed quite unnatural. And then the move b4. And the move b4 I would play so that I could then, you know, make more progress in the position and try to get these two moves going. So I calculated b4, knight e4, and then something like knight d7 followed by c5. I didn't see a clear reason not to do this, and the computer just disagrees with me completely and says this is wrong. I didn't see a clear reason not to go for this, but I simply decided that allowing the knight to be on e4 was bad. It was just not a good thing for me. So then I was like, why don't I trade? And the point is very simple. If my opponent trades the queen, then I will trade the queen and I will play c5, and I'm probably just better with black. The computer agrees. So then I thought, what about bishop takes? And so I very quickly calculated I would play b4, I would play c5, and I'm not worse. I mean, I'm just not worse. I'm going to play bishop e7, I'm going to castle, I put my knight out. Computer agrees. Computer slightly prefers bishop b4. It just thinks this is kind of like a game killer. It thinks that, you know, it's just an equal position. And last but not least, against this move, I was calculating for a little while, and I decided that there was nothing wrong with c5. I mean, I thought about bishop e7. It looked a little silly to do this, and you don't need to get out of the way. You can just play c5. And I calculated a few lines after c5. Namely, I calculated c4. And I actually decided that I liked both retreating and not retreating. I also briefly calculated b4, but basically you can take the pawn because the queen is also hanging. And so queen c4, I thought, I mean, I can even go back and I can, you know, I'm going to go here and maybe even play c4 myself. So for example, bishop here, I can play bishop d5 and maybe even push, but I don't have to do that. So bc c5, and I looked at a lot of lines. I looked at b4. There's this funny line, d5 takes c4, and, you know, I try to win the pawn back. But there's no reason to even play any of these moves. You can just... So I'm happy that in this one I came to the right decision. The right decision is I should probably trade because allowing the knight to stay there is just bad. I didn't think it was 0.7 worthy of bad. Like, I thought I could go c5 and maybe I'll figure it out. The engine is not convinced. It does not believe in my position. So, I mean, I didn't see like a gigantic difference, but I guess it is quite a big difference. But you should take the knight on c3. And I was correct. My hypothesis to trade the knight and basically push quickly c5 is the way that black should play in this position. So I'm glad to end on a good note. I calculated knight c3. I evaluated accurately. I played c5, and I didn't miss really anything from the opponent's side. Hi, it's me again. If you made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you. Really, seriously, sincerely. Maybe you just skipped here because you're just curious about, you know, what's at the end. At the end, I praise people who watch the whole video. So if you haven't watched the whole video, you bozo, certified FDA certified bozo. Go watch the rest. Do let me know if you want me to upload more chess lessons content. I know it's not like that interesting. I'm not talking to you directly. Normally I record these, I'm talking to you. You have a good time. I make fun of you. You look at me and go, wow, his hairline is horrible and he sucks. But it's like this kind of relationship. So if you enjoyed the video, and even though it wasn't recorded specifically for YouTube, I will make more. And if you didn't, then I won't make any more. Anyway, Road to GM episode number 4 coming out soon. Until then, get out of here.